So actually, before I read the statements on the agenda, I just wanted to say congratulations, Steve and Lee, on your re-election yesterday. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GL Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's February 12th, 2022 revised order extending remote participation by all members in a meeting of a public body, this meeting of the Great Barrington Select Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at www.townofgb.org. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner. See the instructions at the top of the agenda. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Pursuant to MGL 7C 30A Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of a public body or may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform all attendees of any such recordings. It looks like we have the Berkshire Edge. The town is recording. And possibly the Berkshire Eagle, although I don't see anybody specifically on at the moment. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listings of agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. So let's get started with a motion to nominate a chair for the upcoming year.
Motion to nominate Steve for chair.
Second.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Steve.
Aye.
I will pass the meeting off to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much for your support, board members. I look forward to this year. Do I have a nomination for vice chair?
Motion to nominate Lee for vice chair.
I second it.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, roll call vote. Garfield?
Aye.
Eric?
I'm going to vote aye. Can I just make a statement too? I just just like to, I don't know how it always works, but I just in the future just would like to see the vice chair rotate every few years. That's all. I think it would be helpful for everybody. And you guys do a great job. Glad Lee's vice chair this year. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lee?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Ed.
That's okay. Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous. Sometime during the year, Eric, now that you brought that up, and when things calm down a little bit, which maybe will never happen, we have to review our policies and procedures, and that would be the right location to put something in there if we decide to.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to take a roll call vote, even though we've done this just for this to comply with the law. So Garfield?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
I'm here.
Lee?
Aye.
And I'm here. I'm going to read a statement before we go into the minutes. And this is really for members of the public who are here to want to talk about short-term rentals or want to hear us talk about it. At the select board meeting of March 30th, 2022, a conflict of interest question was raised through an anonymous email regarding the board's review and discussion of the proposed short-term rental bylaw. The conflict was described as a financial interest in the subject of short-term rentals for board members who own and live in property that is near other properties that are currently used or listed as short-term rentals on the Airbnb website. The members in question were Ed Abrams, Lee Davis, and me, Steve Bannon. Eric Gabriel previously recused himself from the discussion under the advice of the Ethics Commission. At the March 30th meeting, the board stopped its discussion of the draft bylaw. That town manager then asked town council to review the issue. As part of the review, town council consulted with legal staff at the State Ethics Commission regarding the facts of the situation and how the commission would apply the law to those facts. This week, legal staff at the Ethics Commission informed town council of the commission's determination that board members Abrams and I did not have a conflict, but that board member Davis did. The Ethics Commission based its determination on the location of board members' properties and the distance between those properties and the applicable short-term rental properties that were identified. Legal staff advised that if either board member Abrams or I did choose to take part in discussions of the short-term rental bylaw, it would be appropriate that we file a disclosure of the particular facts of this situation with the town clerk under section 23B3 of the Conflict of Interest Statute, Chapter 268A of the General Laws, which is the so-called appearance of conflict provision. I have filed a disclosure with the town clerk's office today describing the situation, stating my view that I can act objectively in this manner. At this time, we intended to continue this discussion and vote on this matter at a meeting of the board during the week of May 23rd. I would like to give Select Board Member Davis an opportunity to continue her discussion with the Ethics Commission staff, as I would with any other board member in a similar situation, on whether she is conflicted or not. If anyone's dealt with the Ethics Commission, you know there's a lot of gray area and there's a lot of moving parts. So Lee is in process of discussing this with the Ethics Commission. So to make a long story shorter, we hoped and plan on discussing this on May 23rd. So tonight we will not be discussing the short-term rental, including on the warrant. We will pass over those parts of it until the 23rd. Approval of minutes. April 11th, 2022.
I make a motion. Yeah, I make a motion to approve the minutes of April 11th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous. Select Board's announcements and statements. Garfield?
Yes, I have something that I wrote down. I didn't want to screw it up. I'd like to read it if you could.
Of course.
All right. 1 year ago today, I was elected to this position. I thank the folks of Great Barrington and Housatonic who put their trust in me and elected me to the Select Board. I've enjoyed my first year. I'm looking forward to trying to do my best for the people of Great Barrington and Housatonic. Thank you.
Thank you, Garfield. Eric.
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Ed.
Nothing except that I've also filed the conflict of interest form, similar to yours.
Thank you. Lee?
Nothing.
And I have nothing. Town Manager's report.
Thanks, Steve. I don't have anything new to report tonight, so I'm just going to repeat a few things that I mentioned at the last meeting. The letter that the board drafted requesting that Housatonic Water Works provide bottled water reimbursements and filtration to those most impacted by the Royley water was mailed. I just wanted to confirm that was mailed last week, both regular and certified mail. You've all seen that final draft. And as I mentioned last week, the Select Board will meet in executive session to continue our strategy sessions with our attorney on Wednesday, May 18th at 6 o'clock, 1 week from today. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mark. Licenses and permits. Molly Amstead of Berkshire South Regional Community Center, 15 Chrissy Road, for a one-day beer and wine liquor license for their Welcome Summer Festival on Saturday, June 4th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Hi, this is Molly Amstead speaking on behalf of Berkshire South Regional Community Center. June 4th, Saturday, from 11 to 4, we'll be having our second annual Welcome Summer Festival. Just to name a few things, we'll be having nonprofit booths, arts and crafts vendors, live entertainment, food trucks, and a raffle. The beer vendor will be Shire Brew House, and they have confirmed there'll be a tip certified server as well as IDing everyone.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve a one-day beer and wine liquor license for their Welcome Summer Festival on Saturday, June 4th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. to Molly Amstead of Berkshire South Regional Community Center.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions of Molly or discussion? Seeing none, a roll call vote. Garfield,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous. Good luck, Molly.
Thank you.
Public hearings. Eugene Richard of Price Chopper, 300 Stockbridge Road, for a beer and wine package store license. James Collins, manager. Do you have a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call vote. Garfield,
Steve, I think I maybe have to recuse myself at this point.
okay, thank you. Eric,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous. I have a question or a hand raised, so I assume this is a process question. And Keith Patel, go right ahead. Just unmute yourself. Yes,
Yeah, you can hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
All right, sir. On the 11th April, we applied for our beer and wine license on I-33. That time, like a couple, the representative were like opposite, you know? So how come like beer and wine license get to the supermarket and not the convenience store?
We have not voted on this yet. They have a right to apply for this.
Yeah, so that's why I want to say it, because they have the like self-scanning system. How small kids gonna be stealing and they can
Okay.
use.
Okay, so there'll be a time for you to speak, but let's
Yes.
let them make their presentation first.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Collins, would you like to make a presentation? Or Mr. Richard, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that we, I've operated in other.
You're broken up or muted. Could you say that again?
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
Hi. Let me start my video. My name is Gene Richard. I'm an attorney representing the applicant Price Chopper Operating Company of Massachusetts, Inc. That is the liquor licensing subsidiary of Price Chopper Supermarkets and Market 32 by Price Chopper. On the call or on this webinar, also with me is Jim Collins, who is the proposed manager, and I believe the design project manager for this project, Tom Lee, is also at least monitoring. Price Chopper is looking to add a selection of wine and beer within the supermarket on Stockbridge Road to further serve its customers and to support a whole store renovation and rebranding. Rebrand to Market 32 by Price Chopper, which is basically their flagship brand and similar to existing Market 32 by Price Chopper stores with liquor licenses located nearby in Lenox, as well as Pittsfield, Worcester, Marlborough, and Sutton within Massachusetts. The Price Chopper Supermarket, as I assume everyone knows, is a beautiful facility already, but the plans are to completely renovate, remodel, and become this new brand of Market 32 by Price Chopper. That brand is predicated on improving the shopping experience for Price Chopper customers, through broader and more diverse product offerings and exemplary public service, customer service. The renovated store will have an expanded produce department, new offerings in prepared foods and specialty cheeses, as well as meat, seafood, and bakery departments. They really are nice stores when remodeled. New fixtures will showcase expanded specialty and natural organic grocery items. And finally, the new beer and wine department, which we are seeking approval for tonight, will create a one-stop shopping experience for the Market 32 by Price Chopper customers. Our application, of course, includes a floor plan that shows the addition of a wine and beer aisle after the Market 32 renovation. It's basically planned for one aisle of the supermarket, one aisle being both sides of an aisle, toward the center of the store, with beer coolers on one side and non-refrigerated wine displays on the other, and displays in the center of that aisle. Or within the aisle, I should say. That beer and wine aisle would cover just over 1,900 square feet within the store, representing, it's about 4% of the entire sales area, including about 65 linear feet for beer sale displays and 182 linear feet for wine, including those fixtures within the aisle. Price Chopper wants the ability to have small displays in other areas of the store, periodic displays, as appropriate to highlight pairings such as cheese or chips and dip for holiday or special events like, say, the Super Bowl. Construction on the remodeling is scheduled to begin on June 6th. So that's coming up in the next few weeks. And it is scheduled to be completed by the end of October, with the grand reopening scheduled for November 8th. The store will remain open throughout all that construction, and in its current hours of 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. All the departments will remain open, although there may be a 1 or 2 day period where a certain department might have to be cordoned off. The way that's done is that all major construction is conducted basically after 7 p.m. and then concludes by 6 a.m. and that's Monday through Thursday. I will say the plans include expanding into 2 adjacent vacant spaces, I believe on either side of the supermarket. And that would increase the supermarket by about 3,200 square feet. Assuming we're successful in obtaining this license, we intend to return and just file an application to include those additional space within the approved premise. Price Chopper has long-standing experience with selling alcoholic beverages in other of its stores in Massachusetts. They currently are licensed in 8 locations. This would be the 9th and final as current law stands. The nearest is Lenox, which is a Market 32 by Price Chopper. Lenox sells all alcohol, but of course this would just be beer and wine. But if you've ever been in that store, that's a very good, basically give you a good idea of what this aisle would look like. Price Chopper has held package store licenses in Massachusetts going back, in total for decades. There are no prior disciplinary actions related to alcohol sales. They've not been charged or they've not sold to minors. There's been no sales to intoxicated individuals. There are many safeguards in place to maintain that record. And briefly, the security measures include tips training for all managers and cashiers, which would be completed prior to commencement of selling alcohol here. Their point of sale systems, the cash registers, require entry of a date from an approved license before any sales can be made. There's no age cutoff. Everyone is carded. Under 21 cashiers are locked out. They can't complete a sale. And the process is that they summon a manager on duty, and that manager does the checkout of the alcohol. There are cameras in the store. The cameras, some of them would be trained on the alcohol aisle. There's a dedicated lock storage in the rear of the store. And during times when alcohol sales are not allowed, just per the hours, the beer and wine aisle would be blocked off with gates on either end. And the registers are programmed to not make sales during those hours. So as mentioned, these safeguards have proven quite effective in practice. In terms of public need, we've experienced, or Price Chopper has experienced many customers asking when the Great Barrington store would be able to sell alcoholic beverages. Typically, sales in supermarkets are to existing grocery customers who uniformly like the convenience of one-stop shopping and being able to pick up wine and beer offerings at the same time and place as they shop for groceries. That's a convenience that is helpful for customers and appreciated, particularly in winter weather. Many people like not having to make an additional stop. And the ultimate proof of that consumer or public need is the sales experience of Price Chopper, where wine and malt selections are a popular item with its customers where it is now available. Briefly, the manager, Jim Collins, is also very experienced with managing stores that sell alcohol. He was born and raised in Great Barrington. He's worked for Price Chopper for almost 40 years, 39 and change. He has about 20 years experience as a supermarket manager, including some years ago, Great Barrington, and approximately 15 years as a general manager in stores licensed to sell alcohol, including Pittsfield and most recently up in Lenox. He is tip certified. He's personable, diligent, and
You froze. Okay, we need him to come back so that we can ask questions. There you are. You froze at the end, Mr. Richard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said that Mr. Collins and I are available to answer questions, but pending that, I respectfully request that the board approve this license application.
Thank you. Do we have questions for either Mr. Collins or Mr. Richard? Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Richard and Mr. Collins. My question centers around the periodic displays that you spoke about. And I remember when Big Y came, and I believe at that time I voiced a concern about these periodic displays. And verbally, I was assured that pretty much everything would stay in the beer and wine aisle and that there wouldn't be alcohol spilling out into the food aisle. And that has not happened. That was not written into the special permit, so I'm not blaming anyone, but I did want to raise that, I have a concern about these periodic displays. And, one concern is that to have it in one aisle, I can see, people coming in and it's convenient. But then, when you're shopping with kids, or maybe you're trying to abstain from alcohol, having, alcohol in your food aisles and, popping up when you're trying to get candy or whatever. I feel that might be, something that we might want to discuss as a board, restricting. And I'm not leaning each way, but it is a concern of mine, the periodic displays.
Eric?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if I have any questions per se, but more statements. Do we do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So after listening to Richard's statement, I see what they're looking to obtain, and I understand the goal of convenience there. But to be honest with you, I'm uncomfortable with Great Barrington and it having every grocery store having a package store or beer and wine in it. We have many residents that the temptation's too great for them, and this would give them no options to go shopping without the temptation of buying beer or wine. I think we owe it to our residents to keep one of our grocery stores alcohol free. Lee mentions Big Y. They have more alcohol in there than they have organic food from the looks of things, and that situation makes me upset, and I know it makes other people uncomfortable. So I'm not comfortable with Great Barrington in every grocery store having alcohol for sale. So that's my opinion.
Thanks, Eric. Any other questions or comments? I guess I'll have a question about this self-checkout. How's that work? You said they have if I check out there, and I won't, but with liquor, because I don't drink, but if I did, and you said you enter a date, did you scan your license? Is that how that works?
What I was speaking to was the cashier checkouts. The cashiers check each license and then enter that into the point of sale system. In terms of the self checkout, if alcohol is brought to the self checkout aisle or machine, the customer cannot complete the alcohol sale without a manager or the staff who is around those systems to assist people have to come over and I check the ID and enter the approval within the even the automatic register. So it in essence turns the automatic registers into a staffed register for alcohol sales.
Any other questions from public or board members? Yeah, Lee?
Just to speak to Eric's point that, we're kind of aligned in, from what I'm gathering is, hesitancy to make alcohol so freely available. And I am very, empathetic and aware of that. There are people that are trying their hardest to abstain from alcohol and that don't drink alcohol and don't necessarily want it when they go grocery shopping. So my point is around the aisles that are designated. If this was passed and there were these aisles, is this something that if you didn't want to have alcohol in your face, that it wouldn't be kind of front and center? Could it be obstructed a little bit so people could just avoid that section? And if there was a case of not having the periodic displays, is that something that you would be open to? Or I'm just thinking about your thoughts about that.
My thoughts, Ms. Davis?
Yeah, is this something that, how it's set up with the aisles, is this something that can be easily obscured for people that don't want to really have it in their face, that are trying to just shop? for food and not see alcohol?
Well, I would say to that, first of all, meeting competition, of course, is very important for a supermarket. And one reason my client really, Price Chopper really wants and has gone for this license is that the Big Y is presently licensed, and they're at opposite edges, sides of the town, but that's a real competitive disadvantage to say be the only supermarket in town without a license. So that's not your question, but I would say I mentioned satellite displays that are not within that particular aisle because that is something the Price Chopper would like to do, and we wouldn't do it without mentioning it and getting the approval of the board. But if it's a question of not having a license or not having the satellite displays, I think the answer is pretty clear that the Price Chopper would be amenable if the board so votes, so desires, to keep all the beer and wine within that one aisle, which it's very easy not to go into the aisle if you're shopping. The entire aisle would be beer and wine, and there'd be no reason to go down that if you're a person that does not want, say, your child to be in the aisle or in your cart, or for whatever reason you don't imbibe alcoholic beverages, or you're positively trying to avoid it. You could simply just not go down that aisle. And I would say that there are numbers of package stores in town, and anyone in town is going to be passing those. So you can't avoid alcohol, so to speak, totally, but you could be in the store, and if limited to that aisle, just avoid it that way. Absolutely.
Eric, go ahead. And a couple of people have their hand up. They're now down. So if you do want to speak, okay, Michelle will recognize you and other people in a minute. Go ahead, Eric.
Every time I go grocery shopping, I say I'm not going to buy Ben and Jerry's. Yet by the time I'm checking out, it's always in my cart, And then, I think there is multiple other package stores in town. It's different when you're going there to buy dinner. It's an extra stop you got to make. It's not as convenient as you were saying you were trying to make Price Chopper. So that's just my opinion. My mind's kind of already made up on which way I'm going. But that's my point of view on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Michelle LeBear, go right ahead.
Michelle LeBear, 70 Division Street, Great Barrington. I'm just a little confused by this conversation that's going on, discussion. If we're talking about not tempting people, then perhaps our grocery store should get out of the lottery ticket business, because gambling is just a serious addiction. So I'm just a little confused by it. Also, I'm confused. I'm not going to say confused. I'm a little taken aback by the hypocrisy here, where right next door to Price Chopper is a pot shop. That parents pulling in and out Price Chopper, their kids are in the cars. They see the lines there. We have a pot shop on Main Street, Great Barrington, down just a door down from a toy store. Mom and dad are walking by it with their little ones. No one's saying anything. Hey, we go to Manhattan Pizza. We're assaulted by a massive sign saying dispensary. Now, we have a couple treatment centers opening here in Great Barrington. You want to talk about temptation, talk about that. So I think it's a little hypocritical, the discussion here with regard to this request. Also, I'm familiar with not only Big Y and Guido's and Price Chopper Market 32s, they do have high security when it comes. And I'm not a big fan of alcohol. I don't drink either. But if it's done and it's secure, to be honest with you, when I walk by the aisle up in Lenox, I see it there, but it doesn't really register. I've been behind people in checkout lines in both Big Y and Price Chopper, and they get the 3rd degree as they're checking out. And so, like I said, I don't think that request is really fair. When, like I said, it seems like every 10 feet we have a marijuana shop. So let's be real here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next would be Frederica Siegel. Name and address, please.
Thank you. I have a grandson who's allergic to peanuts, but they keep
Name
selling.
and address, please, just to start.
Sure. Frederica Siegel, 27 Round Hill Road.
Thank you.
I have a grandson who's allergic to peanuts, but they keep selling peanut butter in the store. I myself would like to cut down on carbs, but stores keep selling bread and pasta. We have to control our urges on our own. There's dispensaries everywhere, which I feel is a much bigger consideration. But if the Price Chopper and also the Big Y could contain their alcohol service to the aisle, I think that would be a big improvement. But we can't babysit everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. James, just state your full name and address, please.
Good afternoon, board. This is James Garzone at 84 North Lane Road. I just pretty much going to repeat what the other two speakers said. Is I think we should be fair. If we allow the Big Y and Guidos to sell, why not Price Chopper? And I've been saying for a while, I feel the dispensaries are inundated in our community. And I think that's a bigger issue than selling wine and beer in an aisle of Price Chopper. If we allow one supermarket, we shouldn't be anti-competitive by not allowing the other one. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Board, what's your wish? Do you want to vote tonight? We can put this. Ed, go ahead. You look like you want to speak. Unmute yourself, Ed, please.
Sorry, I just want to clarify something. The pot shops, that decision's a legislative decision made by town meeting. Town meeting set up the zoning where it's allowed. Town meeting chose not to put a limit on the number. The select board doesn't have the ability to limit it. It's just a different question. It's not like we're comparing here in this decision alcohol to marijuana. We don't control where the marijuana stores are. We do have control over the liquor licenses. That's all.
Okay. So we have a couple of choices. We could go ahead, Lee.
Oh, no, I wanted to make a suggestion, but not, I wanted to throw a suggestion out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we still?
Oh,
so, I'm trying to kind of find a middle ground, and my suggestion would be to grant the license, but put a condition that the satellite displays are not allowed, that it's limited to the aisle designated for beer and wine.
The other choice we have, which you have a right to do this, is for a variety of reasons, we could put this off for 2 weeks to our next meeting. I, for one, have not been to the Lenox store and thought about it, and that may entice me to change my vote one way or another. I don't know how Ed feels, Eric and Lee.
There's no rush for me either, so whatever it takes for the board to make a decision, I'm fine.
I don't have a problem. I don't know about the applicant. They were going to start construction soon, it sounded like. But I don't
right, well, we would be voting before June 6th.
Okay.
I'm sure he'd like a decision tonight, but I'd also like dinner, and I'm not getting it, so. So Lee, you can either, or anyone can make a motion to either approve this, or they can make a motion to put it off for 2 more weeks.
I could make a motion for what I'm comfortable voting on and just see where the chips fall.
Well, yeah.
Or I can wait. I really, I guess the applicant, the 2 weeks, is that, I guess that would probably be suitable for you.
Yes, I when we would prefer that it be approved tonight, but if the board wants more time to investigate, that's certainly within your purview and would not be opposed whatsoever.
Okay.
So let's make a motion to close the public hearing first.
Okay. If it's going to be continued, though, do we have to close it? Do we want to have more public hearing possibly in 2 weeks if we continue it? Or
If you don't want to, if you want more input, then we won't close it. We'll just vote to continue.
okay.
Yes, that's correct.
I'd like to make a motion that we vote to continue to May 23rd.
At 6 p.m. It
At
just
6
needs a date and time certain.
May 23rd at 6 p.m.
Second.
Just for some clearness, the 23rd meeting may start at 5:30. We haven't made that decision yet. But this won't happen till at least 6 o'clock. So that should be fine. So any other discussion? Roll call vote. Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Is there a representative from Sam Scott Orchards here? Please raise your hand. Mark, do you see anyone?
Don't.
Okay. I know it's hard for you to say, Mark. Have we been in touch with them?
Yes, they are aware that this was continued and that their approval was limited to the one date that you provided last.
Okay, so unless I hear something from board members, I'm passing over this, and they will not be able to sell this week at the farmer's market because we've given them every chance. I don't know how hard it is to zoom in, but assuming that they knew about it, which they did, I think we had some questions.
If they show up later in the meeting?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, just want to confirm that.
Yeah. Okay, next we have Efrat David for permission to install a driveway at 10 Nob Hill Road. Efrat, do you have anything you want to say?
Yes, I prepared a statement if I can
Yes,
read it.
please.
Thank you. So my name is Efrat David. My husband, Benny, and I have lived in Great Barrington for 30 years and for the past 10 years at 10 Nob Hill Road. This property has a right-of-way that was issued in 1959 and was never used. Our property has a circular driveway where one of its exits laid on the portion of the right-of-way. This circular driveway existed for at least 20 to 25 years, if not more. Our neighbors from New Jersey informed us that they want to use the right-of-way on our property to pave a driveway to their back lot where they wish to build a new house. We recognize their rights to use the easement and offered a solution that would work for both parties. However, on March 31st, 22, they informed us of their plan to eliminate our circular driveway and claim one of the exits as theirs. Even though we believe that legally they do not have exclusive right to the right-of-way and are not allowed to eliminate our driveway, a circular driveway, we responded defensively and applied for a permit to move our existing circular driveway away from the easement. We are asking the town to validate that we are entitled to have a circular driveway, which is considered two driveways on a property. The property on which our neighbors want to build a house does not have any driveway on it, even though it is very feasible to construct a driveway that connects that new house to Nob Hill Lane. We recognize our neighbors' rights for an easement on our property. Their ability to make use of it to construct a driveway is hindered by the town's current driveway bylaws, not us. We believe that any property in town of Great Barrington has the right to have two driveways. Furthermore, We plan to help the town with its shortage of rental properties by building an apartment above our garage. We had already started working with a contractor and an architect for the past 6 months. Our neighbors believe that we have no use to our circular driveway. However, this driveway may be even more essential once we build this apartment. I'm open to any questions, and our lawyer, William Martin, is also present if there's any questions for him.
Thank you, Fred. So I've been advised by staff that the board's position here is to deal with a driveway issue. That the civil matter is not in the purview of this board. We're not. So the board can either grant the driveway permit, can make alterations to the application conditions, or can deny it. But we're not here to act as judge and jury about a civil matter. So what's the wish of the board? Ed?
I agree that I think we should go ahead. I do want to say that we do have a limit of true curb cuts for a driveway. And if a decision, again, like you say, Steve, a civil decision outside of our hands says that the abutters have the right to put a driveway in that easement, we would expect them to remove one of their curb cuts in order to do that, if they're forced to do that. In other words, we're not granting a third curb cut. The fact that there are two is not a reason that we're endorsing one or the other. And I just want to make sure this is in the record, that what we're saying is, at this point, looking at what we're looking at, there's no problem with the second curb cut. But we are not saying, we're not weighing in on the civil matter, and they should be aware they may be forced to remove that curb cut if they have to put in the other one.
So
whoever's taking the minutes, was that said in a form that could be written down?
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
Sorry to ramble.
Okay, I'm going to let a couple people speak, but I want it very briefly because the matter on the table is the driveway permit, not the civil matter. So Alexandra Glover, go right ahead.
Thank you, and I won't get into the civil matter. I am an attorney. I represent Sam Litton and Robin Sheeman, who do own that property that Ms. David referred to. I think the board's position is exactly right here. I agree, for whatever that's worth. The reason I wanted to speak is not to waste the board's time, but simply to say that this is notice that this probably will be back before the board, and that the board is aware there is this issue. I think Ed said it best and said what I would have said in this regard. The only thing I want to correct in what I heard a minute ago is that the easement we're talking about that will no doubt be back before this board is the easement, a 30-foot right-of-way to access my client's property over the David property. It's reflected in a recorded plan that's attached to their very deed. So I did provide this board with some materials. We'll deal with the civil issue. I'm hoping that we will be back before the board with a joint application to correct this situation and straighten it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. William Martin, name and address, please.
Bill Martin and Oliveira,
Thank you.
75 South Church Street, Pittsfield. I represent the applicants. I wholeheartedly agree that this board's jurisdiction is limited to the permit application. I disagree that what happens in the civil litigation will determine whether or not the driveway needs to be removed. There are currently 2 driveways on this property. Whether the zoning bylaw or whether the town's bylaw permits a 3rd driveway is separate and distinct from the parties' rights under the easement. And so I think that this should be narrowly focused on my client's desire to relocate the existing leg of the circular driveway. That's it. Any further comment or analysis beyond that is really not within the role of this board. And the court at some point will decide what rights there are to the right-of-way. As of now, my client's position is the owners of the benefit of the right-of-way can apply tomorrow to install a driveway over that right-of-way. Whether the town grants that or not is entirely within the jurisdiction of the town's bylaw and its requirements. The fact of the matter is my clients are doing nothing but moving the driveway from its current location to a different location, and that's the extent of this proceeding.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Ms. Glover, very briefly, please, because I'm not getting into a discussion between attorneys.
Understood. My only concern here is that this they already have, so the Davids already have 2 driveways. It's not permitted. They have an in and an out for this convenience. This permit that they're requesting and what they're asking the board to do is to use the driveway permit like some kind of a sword to now move on and say it's permitted. So the people with the deeded right of way can't use it. And I'm not sure what remedy we're going to seek, assuming the board does grant this, but I would certainly request that the board put off decision on this driveway permit to permit the parties time to at least try to resolve this.
And lastly, Ms. David?
I don't want Ms. Glover to misrepresent facts. There's no proof that this driveway is not permitted. It's been there for more than 20 years. It's just misrepresent the situation.
Okay, I'm going to ask that we, the board, make a decision about voting on this.
Yeah, may I?
Yeah, please go right ahead.
This goes to what I said before. I'm a little concerned that, we're now being told to say, no, we didn't say that. In other words, I really want them to be aware we are not granting, we don't have the power to grant a third curb cut. Any decision we make tonight is not weighing in on whether there can be this curb cut we're putting in. At this moment, there can be. But if there is, I want them to understand that if they go ahead and put in that curb cut and there's an order to grant the easement as a driveway, they're gonna have to get rid of one of the curb cuts. And for the attorney to say, we didn't hear that, which is what I think he said, makes me uncomfortable, and I would be more inclined to delay this then.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to grant permission to install a driveway at 10 Nob Hill Road to Efrat David.
Do I have a second?
For purpose of discussion, second.
Okay, let's discuss.
I've made my statement, actually.
Yes. I guess my only concern that is, if we decide not to do this, isn't it getting into the civil matter? I mean, there's a bylaw that says if this was any other driveway, we would have been done 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we've sort of been asked not to put a condition on it. I just want to make it clear, we're not weighing in on this decision. And if there is a requirement from somebody other than ours that a curb cut be put in, I assume our building inspector is going to require one to come out. And the fact that there's a second one there can't be the reason not to comply with some order if the order is given.
Well, I don't know that anyone can order. Well, I do know that no one can order something that's against our bylaws.
That's what I mean. So I don't want, for example, a court to say they are entitled to this easement, and then for them to be able to successfully argue, yeah, but we can't put another curb cut there because we already have the 2.
Yeah, well, that's to me is up to the court. You're right. I think we're agreeing on the same thing. Any other discussion?
I'm just kind of on the fence for both. I mean, I think both of you have made good points. So I'm just uncomfortable in general, and I don't feel like I have enough clarity really to know what the best thing is. Do we? We don't have any staff that can guide us, or no? Okay.
In my mind, that this really is a civil matter, and that they chose to come before us, and we have to look at our rules and decide if this driveway meets what our rules and regulations are. That the rest is unfortunate, but if they've chosen to come before us, I assume this is just gonna speed litigation up, if nothing else.
All right.
So let's try a roll call vote and see what happens. Garfield,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Ed,
No.
Lee,
Aye.
and I. It passes 4-1. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, next under new business. Let me just get to that point. Lisa Eisler and Matthew Skierpak for permission to install driveway at 20 Alford Road. Is anyone on the line?
I'm not seeing either of the applicants' names here.
It's a board decision. I think Garfield made a pretty compelling argument last time that even if we don't have questions, we won't know that till a meeting. So we can either vote on this if we have no questions, or we can ask the applicant to return on the 23rd.
I'm inclined to vote since I have no questions.
Anyone else?
I'm inclined to wait till the 20.
You muted yourself, Garfield.
So I'm inclined to wait until the 23rd until we can speak with the person. As you know, I feel they need to be here.
How's everyone else feel?
I agree with Garfield.
So can I actually agree with Ed, but I'll go along with the majority. Can I have a motion to continue to the 23rd then?
I make a motion to continue to May 23rd. The business of Ashley Isler and Matthew Skierpak, excuse me for making a terrible situation from that, for permission to install a driveway at 20 Alford Road.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Again, we have no questions. I don't know why we make them do this and delay it.
So
Well,
go ahead, Garfield. I'm sorry.
Myself, as I stated before, I think it's principle. They're adults. They need to be here. This is their turn. This time to speak. And if you don't feel important enough or think it's that important to be here, then I think you need to be here.
So roll call vote, Garfield. This is to continue.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
No.
Lee.
Aye.
And no, so it's 3-2. We continue it to the 23rd. And just to be clear, 90% of the time I would agree, Garfield. I just think this time we don't have any questions. We might as well just move it on. But I do understand the principle of it and respect the board's vote. Okay. Next, the select board vote to waive or exercise the town's chapter 61 right of first refusal on 2 parcels on Lake Buell Road identified as 0.615 acres designated as parcel A, a portion of existing parcel 38.1 of assessor's map 42, and 0.492 acres designated as parcel B, a portion of existing parcel 38D of assessor's map 42, both parcels to be conveyed to the abutter and removed from chapter 61 status. And Chris, in English, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Chris Rembold speaking. And I know the attorneys for both parties are present. Mark, thank you for promoting them to panelist status in case the board wants to hear from them. As the board is probably aware, when land is in the Chapter 61 tax assessment program, the town has a right of first refusal. There's a lien on the property, and the town has a right of first refusal to meet bona fide offers for sale, or to assign its right of first refusal to another party to meet that bona fide offer, if the board feels that that land is better kept in a conservation or recreation program. Our process, which is a kind of a recommended process, is to review these first with the Conservation Commission and also with the Planning Board to get their input as to the conservation value and relative value to the town of these staying in chapter status, or the town exercising in some way its right of first refusal to buy the parcels and keep them in a conserved status. You have in your packet tonight comments from both the Conservation and Planning Board in that regard. And I think that the applicants can explain to you the swap that's happening and hopefully answer any other questions. Is that clear enough?
That was very clear. Thank you. If one of the attorneys would like to say anything, that's fine, or we can just ask for questions from the board.
This is Attorney Susan Smith speaking, and I'm happy to answer all your questions. I don't want to take any more of your time.
Thank you. So board members, do we have any questions? So do I have a motion?
I make a motion to vote to waive or exercise. Is that what I'm saying? Waive. Thank
One
you.
or the other.
Yes. Make a motion to waive the town's Chapter 61 right of first refusal on 2 parcels of Lake Buell Road, identified as 0.615 acres, designated as Parcel A portion of existing Parcel 38.1 of Assessor's Map 42, and 0.492 acres designated as Parcel B, a portion of existing Parcel 38D of Assessor's Map 42. Both parcels to be conveyed to the abutter and removed from Chapter 161 status.
Second. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, roll call. Garfield?
Did we have a second?
Of course, yes, we did.
Oh, good, thanks.
We had a motion by Lee, a second by Ed.
Thanks.
I said aye.
Thank you for keeping me honest, Attorney. Eric?
No.
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very
so
much. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Board members, you'll see that right of first refusal waiver in your signature folder.
Thank you, Chris. So the next one is review and approve the 2022 annual town meeting warrant. There's a number of ways we can do this. Nothing on this is a surprise to us. We've either discussed all of them or some of them are zoning. So what we're going to review and approve tonight, and you'll see on it that we already have a recommendation on it, both us and the Finance Committee. So there's 2 ways we can do this, and it's really up to the board. One is to go through each article, or the other is to approve it all together, except, let me just get organized here, except for number 29, 30, 31, and 32, which are short-term rental, and we would theoretically do that on the 23rd. We're not doing short-term rental right now, but to approve, review and approve the warrant for all the other articles. It's up to the board. If you want to go through each one, we can. It's tedious, not to give my opinion, since we've already talked about it at numerous meetings in weather that wasn't as nice as this in the middle of winter. We can do that if there's questions or comments, or we can do it. We can do 1 through 28 and 33 and be done with it. Either way.
Steve, may I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Or just point something out, just for transparency's sake. I just wanted to mention that we did make 3 budget adjustments since the select board last met to approve the budget. Those adjustments were reviewed and approved by the Finance Committee, but I think we should review those quickly.
You're right, Mark, and I forgot. I was on the Finance Committee meeting, so I forgot that wasn't reviewed by the select board. So why don't you review those 3, or Sue, now, so that we're up to date. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to let Sue take the lead on this one.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mark. Good evening, everyone. For those of you that were not at the Finance Committee meeting on April 19th, we presented 3 changes that occurred after the public hearing when we had preliminary approved the budget. The largest change was an increase to the special article, and it's your Article number 11 for the out-of-district tuition and transportation. On March 31st, we were notified of 4 additional Great Barrington students that would be attending the vocational program at Taconic High School. At the time we presented the budget, we only knew of 1 student who was going into, I believe, her 3rd or 4th year, and we budgeted accordingly for 1 student. We now have an additional 4 students. So we have asked for an increase. We're presenting the article at $250,000. The original was for $70,000 for 1 student.
So as a process matter for the board, there's actually 2 votes that need to be taken on these. One is, it says recommended by the Finance Committee and Select Board. That's actually, we recommended the previous number. So we would have to recommend this. And then subsequently, we would approve the warrant. So there's actually a 2-step process for these changes. So I'd like to do them one at a time because they are separate and distinct. And there's no assurance that we're going to agree on all 4 of them and just say yes. So let's do one at a time. So I would look for a motion to recommend to the town meeting Article 11.
I make a motion to recommend to town meeting Article 11.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion or questions of Sue, Mark, or Chris? Seeing none. Garfield?
Aye.
Eric? I'm sorry, Eric, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Thank you. Ed?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And aye. So the recommendation is correct on there now. So thank you, Sue. Let's go to the next one.
Great. Article 4, the town operating budget. At the April 19th meeting, Chief Berger presented a request for an increase to his fire department operating budget of $6,500. He was notified by the Great Barrington Fire District on April 6th that they were having a 5% increase in water rates and a 10% increase to hydrant rentals. Prior to this, he was advised that there would be no increase for fiscal 23 and had prepared his budget accordingly. So the Finance Committee recommended to increase his budget $6,500.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to recommend Article 4 to town meeting.
Second.
Discussion or questions? Seeing none, roll call. Garfield?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. Go right ahead, Sue.
Great, thank you. And the last item is Article 5, the capital budget for the general fund. I don't have the article right in front of me, but the item for the highway truck, when was first presented, was inadvertently, there was an oversight in the admitted the snow fighter package as part of the truck. So there's an increase of $70,000 to that particular item. The original was $100,900, and it is now increased to $170,900.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to recommend Article 5 to town meeting.
Second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call vote. Garfield?
Aye. Excuse me.
Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And aye. It's unanimous. Is that all of them, Sue?
That is it.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, Sue. So
Great, thank you.
what is the board's desire? Do we want to just, and I don't mean this in any slight way, let's see, what's the right term? Approve the warrant of Articles 1 through 28 and 33? Or do we want to go through each one?
I'm ready to do them as a group.
So am I.
Who am I?
Okay, Lee or someone can have a motion?
Can I, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Articles 1 through 28 and Article 33 to town meeting.
Second.
And this, for those of you who are new on the board, and we did this, I don't know, last year, we're also setting at least as far as we can, the order that it's in. Now that can change at town meeting. The town meeting can change the order, but we're also setting the order. I'm not saying that in a bad way. The order seems fine. I just want to make sure everyone's clear that what we're doing here. Okay. Any questions or comments? This would be a roll call vote, of course. Garfield?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. In your packet, and there's not going to be much discussion unless the board wants to have much, but I don't think that there will be, is the town manager's evaluation for this year. It is once again excellent. Amy and or Carmen did a summary, and then everyone's individual evaluation is in the packet. And I just want to congratulate Mark on another excellent evaluation on a year that seemed more difficult than the last, and we didn't think that was possible. So if board members want to say anything, they're welcome to, but otherwise we've made the evaluation public.
I just want to say thanks to Mark, first year in. He's been very helpful and answering my questions always very quickly, and been great to work with. And I'm happy that we have him here in Great Barrington.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to say I appreciate the feedback from the board, and I look forward to working with you in the coming year. So thank you.
Thank you. And unfortunately, for some people, I've worked with many town managers and superintendents, and Mark's been a real joy to work with, as most of the others, because I've been able to get along with him. But he's done a really good job in some really trying times, and I can't stress that enough. What a difficult year this has been. So thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you all.
Citizen speak time. And just as a reminder, we will not be talking about short-term rentals. Michelle, go right ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Michelle Lubert, 70 Division Street. With the short-term rental on the agenda, I thought this was going to be a much longer meeting, so I prepared a written statement. So please forgive me if it comes across a bit cold. I'll go ahead and start. On Friday, May 6th, I was traveling on Van Duzenville Road on my way to work in Lenox. As I neared Formel, a large empty car carrier pulled out in front of me. I followed the large truck down Van Duzenville Road, and I continued to follow it up Route 183 until about the Berkshire Botanical Garden, where it turned right and moved on towards Stockbridge. The speed on this route goes about 30 to 25 to 35, then 40 on the strip that heads towards the Botanical Garden. This vehicle was exceeding those limits. As I followed the truck, I tried to keep pace with it, but when I started going above 45, I pulled back because I didn't want to violate the speed limit myself. I pulled over, I called Breno, one of the Formel owners, and reported the truck's speed to him. We had a friendly conversation. I stressed that I didn't want to get the driver in trouble, but the truck was going too fast for the area, and I wanted to alert him to it. Now, being good weather, more and more walkers, cyclists, and others are on the road. Adding massive trucks or high speed to this is a recipe for disaster. Breno assured me that he would address it. He then said that he was asked to meet with the town, regarding a noise complaint that had been made. He didn't tell me who he met with, but he did tell me that he was told that once the Division Street Bridge was reopened, he should direct his trucks over that bridge. As a resident of Division Street, I was alarmed by this comment and relayed my concerns to the chair of the select board. If what I was told is true, this is, in my opinion, yet another example of the town of Great Barrington, instead of addressing an issue, the truck complaints, simply redirecting the problem to another area. And oftentimes this area is Housatonic, more specifically Van Duzenville. Formel's massive trucks have been an issue, as voiced by North Plain Road and Van Duzenville Road residents and others. This business, as with other business ventures on Van Duzenville Road, have grown exponentially with little oversight, if any, by the town of Great Barrington. When it comes to commercial or industrial businesses operating in residential areas, size does matter. During a December 16, 2019 Select Board meeting, the Division Street Bridge was discussed. A Band-Aid solution was discussed. When asked about enforcement of speed, the response was, quote, "We don't have a fully developed plan as to enforcement." When truck weight limits were raised, the response was, quote, "It is impossible to enforce," close quote, "the weight limits." For me, such comments do not inspire confidence in town leadership. During the same meeting, the Formels transferred their license over to the new owners. Brenna was there in front of the Select Board, as was I. I stated, quote, "My only hope is that the new owner conducts business the same way as the Formel family. When I'm out in my yard, I hear little noise coming from Formels." Brenna stated, quote, "Our main goal is to keep it the same as it has been doing." Select Board member Abrams asked whether it would be a similar business. Brenna replied, "Exactly, yes." Select Board member Davis asked if there were any thoughts as to expansion. Brenna stated it would be kept the same business because, quote, "For us, it's good enough." He then added, quote, "Our goal is to maintain the same." The Select Board supported the transfer of the license, but the business is not the same. The business is much, much larger, and of course, the massive truck fleet dwarfs what was there before. And now Formel trucks are being directed over Division Street Bridge, and Division Street is a highly residential neighborhood. Over the last few years, at least 3 new families with children have moved into this neighborhood. And there are also 3 small businesses on the street: a new bed and breakfast, the Guthrie Center, and Taft Farms. Here, guests and customers who are not familiar with Division Street's increased traffic flow could be at risk. And please note that Formels isn't the only business on Van Duzenville Road that has large trucks. There's a trash hauling business, gas business, and gravel business as well. Not to mention a large railroad project that is using this residential neighborhood as a staging area. And another warehouse is being built on Van Duzenville Road that could also bring additional traffic. In years past, speed and traffic on Division Street have always been a concern, along with overweighted trucks traveling the bridge. Back in 2018, I communicated with the police chief and DPW superintendent regarding this. I simply requested slow children signs, a simple request. The email response I received was, quote, "It is my opinion and the opinion of the police chief that slow children signage would not be appropriate at that particular location." When I asked for clarification, I was told, quote, "It's because of the lack of population density and children," close quote.
Michelle, can you just wrap up?
Yeah, safety
Thank
on
you.
Division Street, children's safety is based on density. This is unacceptable. In closing, and in my opinion, I am seeing once again that the undesirable is being directed to the gateway of Housatonic, which is Van Duzenville. In a way, I feel that someone could be taking a red pen and circling it and saying, let's just dump it here. And to be honest, I'm tired of it. Better consideration of businesses when a location is proposed in a residential area is required, along with that follow-up. In other words, is that business doing what it should be doing? Better enforcement, a classic issue, if not failure, in Great Barrington is needed. Whether it's short-term rentals or truck traffic, our town's ability to enforce the regulation and bylaws it creates must be greatly improved. In closing, I ask this: please respect and protect all residential areas. Shouldn't all residents be able to enjoy their homes and yards, not just those residents in certain areas of our town? If Great Barrington leaders don't start respecting residential areas and neighborhoods and continue to allow inappropriate businesses or business activities to overrun our neighborhoods, it is only a matter of time before another petition is being circulated, or worse, a tragedy happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michelle. Seeing no other hands up, I thought there was one, but then not up now. Select board time. Garfield.
Yes, please. The senior tax deferral will be on the warrant this year. And I wanted to make it clear at the time when we spoke about the monies of $40,000 and the interest at 5%, I thought it was too high. I've now come to learn that I think even banks are charging 5%, And I think that's acceptable. I wanted to make that clear that I'm good with that.
Thank you, Garfield. Eric,
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Nothing.
Lee,
A big shout out to the DPW for their beautiful painting of the rainbow crosswalks, and to Mark for getting the initiative off the ground. Last year was the first year, correct? But they look great, and it was wonderful to see them out striping the crosswalks again. So thank you to everyone involved.
It's our third year.
Okay, I missed 2 years somehow. Thank you.
I just want to thank all the voters that came out. It's hard to get excited about voting for uncontested ballot, but it's important to vote, and people saw that, and we had a turnout that I expected, but I really want to thank the people who took the time to vote. That is very important. Media time. Seeing none, by unanimous consent, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.